Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG World 2017. Now today is Thursday, so it's not our usual day to have English videos, but now we are going to have English videos every Thursday. And they will be for the expanded format. I know there's a lot more interest in the standard format, but there are still a lot of relevant expanded tournaments, such as League Cups and Regionals. So I figured, why not dedicate one day to expanded in order, to achieve two things. The first one is to showcase the different decks, the different strategies, which we definitely haven't covered them all yet in our channel, but also because I'm hoping, if everything works out, that next season I'll be able to attend the same amount of regionals in the United States, or perhaps more, depending on how things with the channel go. But ideally, I will also be attending expanded type regionals because I feel like it's such a different format than standard, even though we have the same cards, obviously. I feel like it's so different, it plays out different, and there's definitely a skill level that I want to reach, and I'm looking forward to it. I also enjoy playing the game. I enjoy the variety that the expanded metagame offers, so I really look forward to that. So what better way to have a head start for next season than to start practicing the expanded format and familiarizing myself with the strategies and all. It's really a win-win situation. So today we are featuring one of the most unexpected decks, I would say. People have different opinions on Volcanion. Some people think it's really good, other people think it's really bad. I personally think it's really good, and it has a lot of potential. And Rahul, ready from the Chaos Gym, he got third place at the St. Louis Regional, the biggest regional in history, with this Volcanion list. So pretty impressive feat. Huge congratulations to him. And yeah, I mean, it has a lot of interesting text and cards, so let's review them. First off, we have our solid 3-baby Volcanion. Power Heater is obviously a great attack. Then we have the 4 Volcanion-EX, the main attacker of the deck. We have Volcanic Heat, we have Steam Up in order to 1 KO anything. And the drawback from Volcanic Heat is it's not that big a drawback in the standard format, but in a format where you have Keldeo-EX with the ability Rush In, you definitely just don't have to worry about that like at all, pretty much, because you play down the Keldeo, you attach a Floatstone to it, and that drawback will never be a factor for your games. Like, it will never affect you, simply because you rush in, retreat, and attack once again. So pretty obvious, good combo there, pretty obvious pairing, but really good. Then we have something very interesting, which a lot of people talked about for standard. It's never made the standard cut, if you will, but Rahul made it work, and it's the 1/1 Starmie line. Now, Starmie's ability, Space Beacon, is the reason why it's there. You will never be able to use Starfreeze because there's no water energy in the deck. But Space Beacon allows you to discard a card from your hand, and you put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. The only restriction is that if you discarded a fire energy to pay the cost of the ability, that particular fire energy you cannot recover. But that's not a big deal, especially when you have Exeggcute. Execcute's ability Propagation allows it to return from the discard pile to your hand once during your turn, so that's pretty good. You don't have to worry about discarding anything useful, because you can just recycle Exeggcute pretty much infinitely. Then, to top off the deck, we have the 1 Hoopa and 2 Shaymin-EX in order to find all of our EXs and draw into more useful cards. Now, in terms of supporter cards, and this is where the expanded format really differs from the standard format, mainly because of the pool of cards available for you to use, but also because, just take a look at this, like, you have so many options and you have so much more draw power, and especially for Volcanion, I mean, you have the 4 Juniper, which does the same thing as Sycamore. You have 1 N, you have 2 Lysander, you have 2 Colress, which is also a really good draw card, and the fact that you play Skyfield and a lot of basic Pokemon means you will be drawing a ton of cards of the Colress. But finally, you have Blacksmith. Now, Blacksmith saw different rates of success when it was first released. It slowly gained more and more power eventually as the season advanced. Now it's no longer usable in standard, but it is in expanded, and Blacksmith is just so good so that you can keep up a flow of Volcanion EXs, attack much more easily with a baby Volcanion when you actually need to, and also not rely on it in order to power up your Pokemon or rely on the elixirs. Now, Rahul did talk that the elixirs were good, but they were not great. He said he really missed AC and he would drop the 2 elixirs for an AC and another card. But we're gonna keep the list as it got 3rd place, and we'll talk about potential inclusions. Like, maybe we'll run into a scenario where AC would have been a really clutch card or something like that. Aside from that, we have 2 Superior Energy Retrieval, which once again combines super well with Volcanion-EX. You get back 4 energy, then you can steam up and power up your attack that way. You have your Ace Spec, which is Dowsing Machine in this case, in order to recycle something like a discarded Tool Scrapper, so you can get rid of a Tool on Garbiter. You can recycle something like a Floatstone or something like Keldeo. I don't know. I mean, maybe not Keldeo, it's a trainer card, sorry. But you can recycle, say, for example, a Skyfield or something like that. So overall, a pretty useful card. And then you have the 2 compressors in order to put energy in the discard for Blacksmith or potentially for Starmie. You can discard the 1 end so you can keep reusing it with Versus Seeker. You can thin out your deck from cards you don't need or cards that you want in the discard pile, such as Exeggcute. So a lot of synergy between all the cards in the deck, and I feel like that's the reason why the deck did so well for Rahul. So having said that, and having talked about the deck quite a bit, let's jump into the expanded ladder this time around and find our first few games of, I mean, it's obviously not a new series because it's still Road to Worlds, but the expanded tournaments are still relevant for this season. There are still there's still Toronto Regionals, which is in the expanded format. There is still and I think there's at least 2 more expanded regionals, Toronto and another one, I think, because Virginia is standard, Seattle is standard, Utah is standard, there's Toronto, and there's one other, I'm sure. Oh well, Madison is standard as well. I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's 2 more expanded tournaments. I'm not entirely sure, but there's also League Cups. A lot of League Cups in expanded format. So I think it's worth it. Now we get an okay hand. We are going second, and our opponent says hello, so we will say hello back. So we are going second, right? Wow, we're up against Mega Mewtwo with Lucky Helmets, Nest Balls, and Mega Gallade. Okay. So a weird combination of Psychic type attackers. I don't really know the synergy between Mega Gallade and Mega Mewtwo, but I guess we'll find out. You may have your opponent switch his or her active Pokemon. Okay, there's a Lucky Helmet right there, and there's an end. So our pretty good hand is not going to last here, but that's okay. We get a pretty okay hand anyways, and we really probably won't have to worry about do I need the Hoopa? If I Hoopa for 2 Volcanion and then I bench another Volcanion and then the Keldeo, that's my bench full, but that's okay, I think. Okay, yeah, and then I can find Skyfield. So I will Hoopa for 2 Volcanion only. Yeah. I will Hoopa for 2 Volcanion, and I think as long as we power up a couple of Volcanion-EXs, we should be good here. My opponent says we have a good deck. Thank you so much, I guess. I'm not gonna waste the Tool Scrapper. I don't mind giving my opponent a couple extra cards. I do lose the Dowsing Machine, which is unfortunate, but I will grab the Exeggcute, and I will discard it off of the Juniper. So this way, it's always available to us. In the future, Ultra Balls and Superior Energy Retrievals will not be an issue. And wow, we actually get a pretty good hand. 4 Fire Energy right off the bat. So I'm gonna Steam up all 3 times. There's no reason not to. If I can 2-hit KO this Gallade off of the baby Volcanion, that's just going to be so huge. And I even get to use setup for 5. And if my opponent counters stadiums, then I just discard the Shaymin and the Hoopa, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so I find Ultra Balls. I find a Compressor. Is there anything I would like to Compressor out? Is there any other Pokemon I would like to find? Perhaps my 4th Volcanion. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I will go for the 4th Volcanion. So I'm gonna use the ability Propagation, and I'm going to Ultra Ball away the Exeggcute and the Compressor, or the Juniper. The Juniper for now. Actually, I should even find the Staryu, I guess. There's no reason not to. I'm gonna grab the Staryu as well. So I'll bench this guy. Well, if I find the Staryu though, I would have to discard. Well, that's fine. I mean, let's try to go for the perfect setup of Starmie, 1 baby Volcanion, and 3 Volcanion-EX. So with the Ultra Ball, I'm gonna discard these 2 now. So you can see how useful Exeggcute is, because you can just keep using it and using it and using it. In my hand, I keep a Stadium in case my opponent counter stadiums me, and I keep my Versus Seeker so I can Juniper. And now I Power Heater for 110 damage, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. There's another energy. The attack does force me to switch out. Well, he doesn't force me. He might choose to switch me out, but that's fine. That's generally perfectly fine. And he doesn't, so we even get even more cards. Looks like my opponent isn't drawing too well at this point in time. And we get an elixir, we get the Starmie. We actually do get the Starmie. He does counter stadium me, so I'm gonna get rid of the Hoopa. I'm gonna get rid of the Shaymin, and I get the Volcanion-EX, just so we can have the Starmie. It was a mistake to go for the 4th Volcanion-EX. Oh wow, and there's Trevenant as well. There's Trevenant as well. And SPN-GX. Okay. Okay, so Swift Lunge, 30 damage. He does choose to make me switch. So I'm gonna bring up the Staryu, which does have free retreat. So we actually don't lose anything by doing that. And I should be able to get a KO. He's 60 away from the KO, so I just need 2 steam ups, or maybe even 1. So I'm gonna retreat first off, then I'm going to evolve, then I'm going to use Propagation, and now I will discard this guy and this guy. For nothing, I have all my Pokemon in my hand. I do have both Floatstone as well. Now let's play the Skyfield down, and let's use Starmie's Space Beacon, discard the baby Volcanion, and grab both fire energies. Then we steam up. And we steam up once again. So you can see how everything synergizes with the deck. It really does. And now let's set up, because there's no drawback to using setup at this point in time. We're not gonna deck out. We're definitely not gonna deck out. I don't need to use the Blacksmith here. And I can use the Elixir, which I do hit. And I guess I'll attach the Fighting Fury Belt. I could Blacksmith. It really doesn't make a difference. But it would leave the Blacksmith in my discard pile for future potential versus secret use. So I'll power up the least powered Volcanion-EX and I'll just take my KO here. So pretty nice setup. This is only our second turn and we already have 2 powered up Volcanion-EXs. It's really great. It's actually really great. Now sure, we won't be able to use item cards here, but that's perfectly fine because we do have the Lysander. Well, I guess, I mean, I do want more energy. Oh, he actually didn't go for the Trevenant that prevents item cards, so I'm gonna use this second elixir, which I do hit once again, and I'll attach it there. And now we are looking for the Floatstone so that we can use Keldeo, and there it is. We can retreat the baby Volcanion through Russian, and we can take a KO. Simple as that. Simple as that. I don't need to use team ups. I can save the energy for later. I guess I can attach the Floatstone right there, and let's just take our prize card with Volcanic. So there was no reason for me to use the abilities, maybe. I mean, in a more advanced game, maybe there was, simply because you make your deck thinner, your opponent ends you, and therefore it's more likely that you draw off of the energy retrieval. And I guess you do have Starmie, so never mind. I guess I should have not only attached an energy, but also used the steam up, because why not? My opponent does go for the same Trevenant. We can just rush in and then retreat once again, and I will do that, and I will just use both team ups just because I can. 100% just because I can. The Fighting Fury Belt I will attach to the other Volcanion, and I will Volcanic Heat for the knockout. Yeah, pretty good synergy. Pretty good synergy for this deck. And it's like, you have Blacksmith to power up Volcanion, you have Starmie to add that damage to the Volcanion. And my opponent uses Quick Draw. My opponent actually uses Quick Draw. So here we just retreat, we say well played, just like my opponent, and we take our last prize card. So my opponent didn't have the most orthodox deck, if you will. But this game really helped showcase like how the deck flows in a perfect scenario, if you will. It's very unlikely that you will have this perfect scenarios, especially at a regional level kind of tournament. But I really like that game because you saw how synergetic the deck is. The Skyfields, the Hoopa, the Exeggcute, the Starmie, like it all makes the deck really flow, and like the standard versions of Volcanion are really jealous of all the extra utility that you get in expanded for the deck. Now we're looking for another opponent, and there we go. So we are up against a Dark Psychic colorless deck. Kino-Adults or Kino-Adults. So we do get to go first, which is pretty cool. This is probably Turbo Dark, I'd imagine, based on the previous screen and the fact that he has a Darkrai deck box and a Darkrai sleeves. We get a pretty good hand, honestly. Well, pretty good. Pretty good. Let's attach the Fighting Fury belt there. I will attach the energy as well. Thing is, I mean, I will Compressor away the Exeggcute if it's there. It's not. The Exeggcute is priced. So I can Compressor away the Blacksmith, so I have access to it. Energy, not really. I can Compressor away the N as well. And I can Compressor away a Lysander. So I have access to those 3 utility cards right here. I kinda don't want to Shaymin because I might draw useful cards there that I will discard with Sycamore. 2 energy and nothing else. Well, a Verse Seeker, so yeah. We lose some valuable resources, we gain a few others. Okay, Exeggcute. If Exeggcute wasn't priced, we would be in a really good position here, but because it is, I feel like the Fighting Fury belt is going to be very useful. So do I give up the Starmie? Do I just give up all the Ultra Balls here? Not a fan. Not a fan of my hand, honestly. So I can grab Hoopa, and then I can grab 2. See, the thing is, if I discard the Starmie, I'm not gonna use Starmie at all this game. But I also don't have like too many good options right here. And I mean, Shaymin for 2? That doesn't seem too good. So either I lose the access to Starmie or I lose the Fighting Fury belt. I kinda want to keep Starmie as an option here. Oh. Yeah, I won't grab anything. I could grab the Staryu, but nah, that's fine. And now I will Shaymin for 5 cards. I guess I could have used N strictly the previous turn, or before the Juniper. And now I will pass. At least we won't lose the Starmie though. Malamar-EX's ability puts your active Pokemon, like your opponent's active Pokemon, to sleep once you attach an energy to it. So that's gonna be really annoying to deal with, the sleep flips. Especially because Keldeo is also priced. So there's not much we can do to counteract that at this point in time. So hopefully we get some average-ish flips. Hopefully. There's the Hoopa for 2 different Darkrai's and an Volcanion-EX. 2 different Darkrai's in terms of... This is the old one, which gives all your Pokemon free retreat if they have a Darkness Energy attached. And this Darkrai hits for every Darkness Energy in play, and the Volcanion-EX hits for every energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. So... my opponent has Delinquent, so we have to keep that in mind. We definitely have to keep, to play with that in consideration. Here's my opponent's first Elixir. We're probably going to see, Dark Patches and Elixirs all the way through. 1 card on my opponent's hand means it's Sycamore or Shaymin, So it is the Shaymin. And Here's the Fighting Fury Belt. Energy to the active, so we do fall asleep and he can't retreat. Trainer's Mail for a Megaphone, which is going to be annoying. But if we wake up, I'll be okay with what's going on here, I think. I mean, losing... Okay, my opponent ends us. Losing the Floatstone and the Fighting Fury Belt is kind of a big deal. I only have one Floatstone left now. In terms of utility, there it is. And wow, we get no supporters. Ugh. Off of that 6 card end. Our deck is 24 cards, and we couldn't find a Verse Seeker or a supporter card. Yikes. At least we do wake up, but what? We're gonna deal 20 damage, which is obviously nowhere near enough. Wow, this is actually terrible, guys. This is actually terrible. I 100% need the Starmie. 100%. So I'm gonna Ultra Ball for the Staryu. But this is so bad. How did I not get anything? The Volcanion-EX? And the Floatstone? Or the baby Volcanion? This is so bad. This is actually so bad. Okay, those two. Man, we have so many useful cards still left in the deck, and we had an end to 6. And now my opponent yeah, this is so bad, guys. This is actually so bad. If he delinquents, we are done for. Versus Seeker. He will delinquent. That's absolutely game. That is absolutely game. Well, I guess unless we top deck a Sycamore, maybe, or a Verse Seeker, top deck a Fire Energy. We dead drew, guys. We absolutely dead drew right there in the middle of the match. Maybe my Compressor, no, I don't think my Compressor was too aggressive. I generally don't think so. I mean, we can still top deck here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Town map, wow. 2 Compressors and 2 Darkness. What do we top deck? A Fire Energy. Oh boy. Now he's gonna have the Lysander, of course. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna concede, so we can actually get another game in. And I think this should be a really good matchup for Volcanion, but we dead drew and we had horrible prize cards. Nothing you can do there. Sometimes that happens and just have to move on. I feel like in a best of 3 you'd definitely be favored against that deck, because you'll be 1-hit KOing your opponent far more easily than they will be 1-hit KOing you. So if a single Volcanion-EX can like KO 2 Darkrai's back to back, you're pretty much good to go. So I mean, what can I tell you guys? We just didn't draw well enough in that game. Now we are up against a Psychic Water type deck. Could it be that it has Octillery? Water is a bit scary when you're using Volcanion. And, well, as long as Hoopa is not priced, our hand is pretty okay. But if it is priced, we might struggle a little bit. Just a little bit. But if Hoopa isn't priced, we could potentially set up for 5 cards, I mean. So we get another Ultra Ball. And we are up against a Nidoran, okay. So some sort of Nidoking Octillery deck perhaps. I did use one myself when... maybe... Yeah, I misplayed that. I should have gone for an Exeggcute and then gone for... Yeah, oh well, it happens. No worries. No big deal. But I could have made my Shaymin a lot more efficient. So I'm gonna use the Blacksmith and power up a Volcanion already. But yeah, there I should have searched for the Exeggcute and then I should have discarded the Exeggcute and the other Fire Energy. So I'd have one less Ultra Ball, I would be using setup for 5, and I would have Exeggcute in the discard pile for future discards. I will get it still because of the Compressor, but could have done that a little bit more efficiently. So the Exeggcute, I will discard... the Compressor, I will discard the Exeggcute. And 2 Fire Energy, because I already have the Starmie in my hand. I don't think it's getting knocked out next turn. I can use Propagation and find Keldeo as well, so that I have a pretty good bench setup, and I don't need to Juniper in my hand because I will lose one anyways next turn. And with the turn 1 Blacksmith, I also don't really need the... oh, I should have used Propagation. I also don't need the... I forgot what I was saying. Exeggcute with Starmie. I don't know. I completely forgot what I was saying. But there's a Remoraid energy to the active. And my opponent uses Come Along. So he benches a female Nidorina, or Nidoran rather. I top decked the 1 card. I didn't want to top deck perhaps. So let's Propagation here. I will retreat first into the Volcanion. I mean, what trainer do I even want to use? I'll evolve into Starmie. I will get both energy back. I generally don't know why I'm doing it. Like, I don't need any other trainer. But I guess I'll discard these 2. And I'll grab the Compressor and then I'll make my deck even thinner. I will discard 1 Baby Volcanion, the other Compressor, and 1 Fire, I guess. And now I Juniper, because I want to make my bench look a lot better. And I find the Floatstone, which is awesome. I find the double Fighting Fury Belts. I even find a Max Elixir, which does hit. Wow. Half of the cards there were Fire Energy. And okay, I will use Propagation here. Simply because if he for some reason plays a Stadium and uses Delinquent, that way I don't lose my whole hand. And I'm just gonna Volcanic Heat for the KO. So seems like we're not playing against the most competitive decks in Expanded. Maybe there's a different ELO rating for Standard and Expanded. I'm not entirely sure. 140 HP, we're doing that base damage. So he double attacks with Poison Jab and poisons us for 70 damage, but it's really no big deal. It's really no big deal. Bizarre hand for 2 more cards. Finds the Psychic Energy and a Trainer's Mail for a Bursting Balloon. So yeah, not the most competitive decks we've faced, but I feel like the first game really exemplifies how the deck is supposed to flow in theory. Obviously, you don't get that flow every single game, as we saw in the second match against Turbo Dark, but it is possible. It is definitely possible. So Super Rod, Nidoran, and then the Psychic back, and that Sycamore. Okay. So my opponent's still trying to get himself back in the game. I do have to go through 5 prize cards, and because of the Bursting Balloon, I think I'd rather Lysander, avoid it, and KO the Octillery, so that to limit my opponent's draw power and setup. I even top deck another Lysander, so that's definitely the play I want to do here. How many fire energy do I have? 3. So I'm gonna Space Beacon away the Exeggcute, get back 2 fire energy, and I mean, I could steam up, I could not steam up, it really doesn't make a difference. I guess I will steam up, simply because, well, I will only steam up once, so that I can Propagation, and once again, I know it's very unlikely that my opponent plays Delinquent, but why not, you know? Why not try to avoid like worst case scenario where he does in fact have the Delinquent. So no more poison, no Bursting Balloon, and we just deal 170 damage. Now my opponent will attack me once again with the Nidoqueen, but I do rather really limit his attacking options here. And yeah, guys, for those of you who have made it all the way up to this point in the video, please let me know what other expanded decks you'd like me to review. I really want to cover a lot of the relevant meta game. I guess the expanded version of Decidueye Vileplume would be a good idea to review. Mega Rayquaza, which keeps doing well. We already did Yveltal Maxis not so long ago, so I don't think we're doing that. A Turbo Dark, an expanded Turbo Dark would be a good idea. Night March, we could explore Night March as well. Once again, it's been a while since I played Night March, and I know Taurus adds a lot of new power to the deck, perhaps. What else is there? Oh boy, is he going to KO me? Yep. Yeah, Nidoqueen's going to KO my poor... Oh no, it's gonna be 10 short. Wow. It's gonna be 10 short, actually. So yeah, guys, just let me know. I mean, you could also review like Archie's Blastoise once again. Primal Groudon. Primal Groudon is definitely a deck I want to look back to. It was my Worlds 2015 deck. I did make day 2 that year, so I really like Groudon-EX, the card, Primal Groudon. I really do like it, and yeah, definitely leave me some suggestions. Trevenant, maybe, I don't know, up to you guys. I want to get up to speed. Lurantis Vileplume as well could be a good idea to review. We shall see. We shall see. I think this last regional ended up having a huge Yveltal domination, so maybe it's not so relevant right now. Well, I mean, it is relevant obviously, but we just did review the deck, and I meant that there wasn't that much variety. in terms of decks in the top cut. So that means we can explore different decks in our series. And so we get 2 more fire energy. I can rush in and retreat to get a KO with a fresh Volcanion-EX. I could steam up, but I'll steam up once, I guess. No, I'm not gonna steam up. I guess I will, just once. I mean, we're not gonna lose this game. There's definitely no reason for us to lose this game. I did use that deck for the Pokédex series, and it actually ran really well. Really well, but I did have experience shares. I think I did have max elixirs for sure, no bursting balloons. I did have a ton of items or Pokeballs. And there's a Skyla, there's an energy on the Nidoran. It was a fun to use deck. It was definitely fun. Okay, so rare candy into another Nidoqueen, but if he doesn't bench another basic Pokemon, we are good here. So this might be his last stand. There's a Nidoking. There's a Nidoqueen off of the Ultra Ball. And there's the sad face that this is good game. So I generally do think my opponent has a good deck. I did use that for fun once, and I really enjoyed playing it. I genuinely enjoyed playing it, even though it's obviously not the most competitive deck, but I did enjoy playing it. So now all we have to do is rush in and retreat, and I guess we can go for maximum damage. So with triple steam up plus 230, plus 90, we get to deal 230 damage to that poor Nidoqueen. And that's gonna be the game. That's actually going to be the game. 230 damage off of the Volcanion. So, yeah guys, that's gonna be it for Volcanion Day. The one competitive game we did get, we lost. But I feel like if we hadn't dead run, we definitely could have stood a chance. But that happens sometimes, and I know a lot of you guys do prefer me to show the wins and the losses, like that one. I feel like it's a better representation of what can actually happen during a game instead of just showcasing the wins. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out TCG Castle and 6 Prizes if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the Pokédex series, or back on Monday for more standard action. Thank you guys. Leave a like on the video if you can, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.